Hello and welcome to Squares TV Application Lab number 30. This is just a fun little weekly thing where I talk about some of the apps I've made. Shoot, Video Pencil, Beat Sheet. So all stuff for doing, you know, great, making live streaming easier, making Zoom calls really, really impressive. I'm broadcasting this camera on YouTube. I've got a Zoom call going at the same time. It's an after-hours lab, so if you know anything about Office Hours Global, you can actually come and join that. If you don't know, it's fine. We're on YouTube. We're live, and as always, like think about questions if you've got some. So I'll look in chat. Let me just make sure I'm going to hear chat because Ecamm Live does like to change where the sound is coming out of, and then I miss the sound effects. Zoom, stick your hand up in Zoom, and just like as we go on, if there's any questions and hands up, then I'll get to those. It's the beta sheet studio. I am running everything through the beta. If it crashes, which is not impossible, just bear with me a moment, and I will hopefully be back in a few seconds, albeit with my face frozen in a silly expression. And now I can't get the Ecamm Live window to go behind my teleprompter, so that's annoying. Thanks again, everyone who's reporting bugs in GitHub on the Beat Sheet Studio thing. Yeah. Really good. Right, so first up, burnout status. I sort of took a little bit of time. I think I need a bit more time still just to sort of get on top of everything. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But in the meantime, I just want to keep this thing going, and I do mean to figure out some kind of like guest hosting agenda of some sort, so that maybe in future I can do a little bit of ducking out a week, or for a week, to actually take a couple of proper weeks off at some point. Ecamm Live is being a real pain, and I need to actually drag the normal window because the program window keeps not going behind other things, and that didn't work either. Okay, so first up, Video Pencil Beta. If you're on the Video Pencil test flight, you may have seen some craziness. So where that comes from, just to recap, the stroke preview has always been a bit of a hack in Video Pencil. So the real-time drawing that you see as I'm drawing has always been a bit of an awkward hack. I tried some pretty like reaching into the internals of the graphics rendering pipeline, and it worked on my iPad, but apparently it's throwing up pink screens on other people's iPads. I think it's device specific. So if you do see that pink screen of death and things go a bit weird, please drop into Discord, check the GitHub issues. But if you can just make sure you tell me the make and model of iPad, just so that I can see if there's any patterns to what's going on. Doesn't seem to be I thought it might be the older iPads, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Maybe it's actually the newer iPads, because this one's only an 8 that I'm using. So I haven't reproduced it, but I actually haven't worked on it this week either. So, I will get to it. But, of course, if you obviously, if it's a bit of a showstopper if it is doing that. So just install the App Store version of Video Pencil over the top of the beta, and you'll be good to go. And then once I'll let you know, you should get an email from Test Flight saying when there's a new build that hopefully fixes it, and you can just install the Test Flight version again. Beat Sheet Studio. I was going to talk about... first I was going to show you some tinkering I've done today. So I'm just going to share my desktop, and I'm going to go into demo mode, and you're going to see that my LUT has not been applied to demo mode, but that's fine. I am Beat Sheet Studio now does support LUTs, so I am in. There's a log coming out of my Canon camera, and I've got a LUT on that normally when I'm not sharing my desktop, so you can see. And I'm waiting for Rob Rusher to send me a nice new, a perfect, beautiful LUT for myself. So the only thing I wanted to talk about really, I've just been tinkering with these buttons here. And just evolving a little bit of how that behaves, and making this a bit more clickable. So the logic I'm thinking at the moment is you've got main camera, you've got desktop or if there's something on the current card that's being shared, that will be what's up there, so that you can like toggle it on and off just with a click. And if you set, and this will have like second camera, other things that you might be able to share will pop up in this box. The slide is, you know, I had the close button. The close, by the way, the clear thing does still work via the Stream Deck, but now if there is, oh, that should have thrown, oh, I'm not seeing it because I'm on the desktop, but yeah, like, so now there's just a toggle for the slide. So if you do like disappear and come back, because I was doing a lot of like pressing stop and pressing start just to get the slide to disappear and come back. So the layering is basically, you've got like your main camera, you've got whatever you're sharing, you've got your slide, and then we've got our little side toggle there. And then I'm thinking this little space here is ripe for different styles of moving out the way, perhaps in future. But for now, I think this is feeling like it covers a few more use cases. Something I wasn't planning on doing, and I'm going to test, see if it will work. So I've got, if there's no slide attached to the current card, it will show a text button. And if you click on there, you can say squares.tv/something. And that will just come up in the lower third, and you can like, you know, so if I'm sort of helping a developer and I want to go, you just type git checkout b new branch. I can just immediately type something up, and that will just come in there, and you can clear that out. So that's just a sort of handy little thing for getting some text onto the screen if you're sort of like in the middle of a conversation, and that basically appears if there's no slide attached. So if there is a slide, you'll see just the slide that you can toggle. So and then also, like, you see it fade. I'm trying to make this fade out behavior a bit more consistent. So when you click it, it's like faded out. And then I want that to work the same for main camera. You click main camera. If you turn that off, it's going to like just go to your placeholder background. And so if you just want to, you know, sort of like toggle in the main camera, we can just have that. Or if you're in picture-in-picture, you see now, like I'm toggling my picture-in-picture of my desktop share. So that was one thing. I thought I had another share on here, but I guess that has gone. Okay. Right, coming back here and coming out of demo mode. No, what I was going to do, actually, I am going to show you some other stuff. So I'm just going to get my screen share and make sure it's this. Now, John sends me an awful lot of stuff. John During sends me an awful lot of stuff. But today, like, I did, he was talking about, like, backstage. And if you want to follow John, I don't know if you're sharing those to your channel, John, but, like, I thought this was quite an interesting, the distinction between backstage and like, front of house kind of thing. Like, here's my demonstration, and then I kind of just showed you backstage, didn't I, then, by showing you my desktop. But I was just sort of, like, toying with the idea of being able to, like, just sort of press a button in Video Pencil, and it gives you a bit of it sort of like goes into a bit of it sort of spreads out the layers so that you can tell people what's happening, and like they can immediately see, okay, right, you've got an iPad there, and when you draw on that, something's happening. Oh, the Stream Deck window. Oh, look, the Video Pencil, the BeatSheet Studio window, and then you can sort of see the layers back there and see what's going on, and see that there's a teleprompter going, and maybe see that Shoot is running. I just thought this could be quite a cool little. I mean, it's completely unnecessary. I think the actual thing that's needed is just be able to like show people BeatSheet Studio without getting like infinite feedback. That's the real thing. But I was just toying with the idea of, because I'm already rendering in this sort of 3D space, it wouldn't actually be that hard to sort of like do a little bit of an exploded view of the structure. And then, you know, if someone asks you, how did you do that? You go, well, I'm using this. And you can like draw on it and say, look, I've got this and I've got this camera. And then you can sort of come back and it'll all be sort of, they'll still see you in real time. So that's just some silly nonsense I've been thinking about today, because I was trying not to work, but of course as soon as I stop working, just more ideas come in, and then I make myself more work instead of just relaxing. But I did sort of go through, this is kind of what I was saying just now. Turn this into share. This is kind of what it looked like earlier, and then I ended up just changing it and sort of making it. So I just sort of made some notes in here. I'm quite liking freeform for just like throwing in a screenshot and writing some notes. And there's just a little bit of tidying up that I want to do, like if there's missing content, if there's I think this card just the image drop zone is too big, and it does need something about bullet points in there. I can just like put something in there just so that it's a bit more obvious how to do bullet points. And then yeah, did I have any other thoughts here? And then yeah, the camera thing just needs volume and mute on there, like for the movie. Maybe I just measure the loudness of it as well and sort of give you that so you can sort of adjust it. Because sometimes, I think you just want to be able to save the volume of those clips. And not, because you don't, sometimes you want to loop them, sometimes you want to and maybe the playback speed as well, actually. So I need to add that. Yeah, playback speed. And then at some point, I do the pause points. Let me just check. I heard a chat message, which I have not yet looked at. So I just I'm just trying to find the right window for that. Because it's coming from Ecamm. So I just need to, and Ecamm keeps respawning a program window on top of everything else, which is, okay, where is this? This is the chat. Okay, Tim. Hi, Tim. Welcome. What version of iPad am I using? Mine's I think it's the one that Imperial College London gives to students, and it's an iPad 8, I think, 8th generation. So can I show? It's one of these, so it's still got the button. So I did notice that some of the other iPads don't have the button, and then the screen, I noticed that it was getting a bit crowded at the top and bottom of the screen. So I have since then made it so that the controls kind of stay off the edge. But yeah, I'm just on an 8, which I would have thought was a relatively conservative, version of iPad to be using to test these things on, but apparently not. Oh look, I'm missing my window. Okay. Let's keep going. Something while we're talking about the iPad, a little notes tip. I was when I'm on a call, I quite I've always had a notepad to hand when I'm on a call, but with Video Pencil on my desk all the time, that I was sort of never had anywhere to put my notepad anymore. And then I'd start sort of doodling during calls, but I sort of wanted to just be able to take notes really on the call. And then I was like, oh, shall I add a new feature to Video Pencil where you can take notes? But then I remembered, here's a little tip. If you just swipe up from the bottom left of the screen on an iPad, it will literally just give you a blank note that you can write notes in with your Apple Pencil. And so that's what you're seeing a picture of there. I'll hold the camera up. If you just, I need to get the iPad screen sharing working again. But if you've got your iPad, if you just swipe from the bottom corner, let's see if I can do this. And get my face out of the way. So if you just swipe from the bottom corner, can I do this? Can I manage to do this? Let me try it maybe this way. I've got to get my face off camera though. So come on, Michael. Upside down swipe. Oh no. Let's see. This is good. This is professional. Let me try and do it. Okay, yeah. You can basically swipe up a note thing on the iPad, and then you can just draw on that with your Apple Pencil, and that's just going to so this is how I'm taking notes in meetings now. I'll just bring up my little notes, and then I can move that out of the way, and it's all on the Apple level, and it's all sort of synchronized, and just a really good way of making sure you can still use your iPad. You can use your iPad to take notes as well as do live titles, doing amazing things with Video Pencil at the same time. So that's one little tip I was going to talk about next. I've got a new chair. So I've got a standing desk, but I'm going to be I'm clearly, I'm getting older. For some reason, my back has really started hurting, and I think it's from standing up all the time working. I found it walking in Edinburgh, so I was like, okay, I was sitting on I've got a high guitar stool that I was sitting on, but I just got this chair. It's a draftsman's chair is the name of it, but it's just one that goes up to the height of the standing desk, and I'm actually finding this really really useful for and then it also means I can adjust it and still be on camera while sitting down, because I was always sort of down here if I wanted to just sit down for a minute, and now I've sort of adjusted it so that I'm up here. I would move the desk up and down, but I was just going to show you so I've got this IKEA standing desk. But it has this PCB in one of the legs, and then of course, like, this is a weak part, right? So of course this bit here snapped. So not a great design, IKEA, that you've got this sort of like PCB sort of like wedged into the leg that can then snap. So I've been working with I sort of wired in some jumper cables to each leg, so I can just like spark the cables to make the leg get longer and shorter. But the problem with that is you sort of have to like do one at a time, and so then your desk is sort of like at this angle, and then at this angle, So it's at some point I'm going to make myself a controller for it. Just get a little Arduino, well, just some relays, and just kind of like build something with a switch that I can make it go up and down again. But like with the way I've got my studio at the moment, it's kind of wedged in at a certain height anyway. So anyway, just thought I'd tell you about my chair. Another tip. I am going to get to the content I teased. Another tip, I was in quite an important call, John was there, on Monday. I don't know about you, but like I drop my Apple Pencil a lot when I'm on calls, and then and depending on the call, I'm sort of like, I'm kind of like, I don't really want to duck off camera while someone's talking, and then they're like, what are you doing? So here's a tip for you. It's my slip-on shoes. I love slip-on shoes. So actually on Monday, I was sort of like listening, and at the same time I was surreptitiously taking my sock off so that I could pick up my Apple Pencil with my foot and just sort of like effortlessly get that back onto the iPad. So it's just good to have slip-on shoes. So there you go. That's another Studio Pro tip. So next thing I was going to... So I've been trying to take some time off. So, of course, that meant that I was sort of sitting on the couch tinkering last week. And I thought, you know what? I did reorganize my studio last week, but I was good. And I put this in the email a little bit. My studio has always been a bit of a piecemeal thing with different bits of gear and like different form factors, different power supplies, bricks, things. And then once you start adding camera stuff in, it sort of gets even more complicated. And then every so often I'll get organized and I'll sort of like come up with some pedal board system and I'll put things, but then I'll change my gear and then, it's no good anymore. And so last year I discovered this aluminium extrusion. And I've been sort of thinking about it. Oh, maybe that's the way forward. And recently I thought, maybe I could sort of have a crack at designing for that. So I did spend a couple of days last week getting my head around this Vention.io website. So it's a UK supplier of like aluminium profile, but it's got this 3D website. So I just thought I'd show you what I discovered from that and how I got my own like models to scale into it from, via Blender. So I'll show you that after I have responded to Hasmuk's. Can I put you on the call, Hasmuk? Is that okay? It's going live. It's live streamed, but just my view. But I can dial in your audio if I can dial in a bit of audio, but I'm not sharing the whole Zoom call. Okay. I think you were just asking if I'd forgotten, right? Yeah, no, it's all good. So we're gonna go over to so this is like my little dream studio design segment. Let's see how it goes. I'm kind of winging things, and let me just make sure that I'm going to be able to get to the window that I want because it has apparently changed its name for some reason. Let's try this. So I'm going to hopefully not crash now. I haven't crashed, but I'm not sharing the screen. There we go. Okay. So this is... Oh, am I... do I not have my LUT in the picture-in-picture there? Should have. Okay. So this is the website where they show you... Where you can sort of basically... like create this... Oh, no. It sometimes goes wrong as well. Where's the undo? I just moved my avatar. And it's not responding to my keyboard shortcut. This is a bad start. Undo. Right. Let's just use this little ball. So this is I came to I feel like this thing Vention.io must be used by other things. But anyway, I was using this. If you're in the UK and you sort of end up on this shop. So what I did was I searched for online aluminium profile designer, because there was some like desktop ones, but they were like 2010 and nothing was Mac and nothing was, and I thought there must be an online one now. And so I found this one, and it's kind of cool. It's pretty annoying. I've sort of sent them a couple of support requests, because as soon as you start like rotating, it sort of starts going like upside down really quickly. And this just needs to stay vertical. I don't know why they would make it ever not keep the verticals vertical unless you really wanted it. But like as soon as you're like moving around it, it's somersaulting you around, which is really annoying. But what I was going to show you, basically it's this system where, so this is like bits of aluminium profile, and you can like attach these, and you can sort of like move them along and decide where you want things to be, and you've got this sort of catalogue of the different parts. And so the main thing I'm looking at is just like these extrusions, and seeing, and it just seems to like automatically know what to do with these, so you can sort of see where they go, you can move them out and in. And then I've got a couple of rack units like this that I've been so I just wanted to sort of maybe have my gear like this. So, I've got sort of a few bits of gear that I wanted to see if I could lay out. So sort of 2 layers of keyboards, like a modular thing, like 2 racks of gear like this, my speakers, and then my old Amiga. I wanted to sort of bring that into the mix and just sort of figure out a way that I could like incorporate that into the setup and get like a proper old school Sony Trinitron kind of TV going on as well. So I've got like a proper CRT going on. And then like since then I've been thinking I have got a glockenspiel and like some other bits and pieces that I wouldn't mind to have kicking around. But like the main part of this exercise was like, how did I get these in? Like obviously, that's not going to be trivial. So that was done. I was able to figure out, so they've got this My Models thing, and you can actually like import a part from Blender. And I found that the STL format is the one that you need. And if I launch Blender, so what I was doing, like, so for instance, to get this synth, I went to Sketchfab and found a 3D model of the synth, and it was a good model. So I downloaded that, but then it was at completely the wrong scale, so I brought it into Blender and basically sort of moved it to the right side, to the right size, but just if you do have a go on this yourself, just be aware. Let me just go to my desktop. I'm going to come here, I'm going to go to my normal desktop, because I was doing a window share, but I want to show you Blender as well. So here's Blender. So here's like, I found this Sony TV on Sketchfab, and basically sort of you've got in Blender, you've got this there's this sort of secret side menu here that you've got to know about. Up here, it's like, if you want to know the actual dimensions of something, there's a secret side menu up here, this little arrow here. So if you click that, you get something that gives you the item, and then it gives you the dimensions of your. It gives you the dimensions of your object there. So that's basically, if you put that in meters, you can find the right dimensions for your object, and then you can export as STL, and then you've just got to make sure that you have scale by 1000. So I found this by trial and error with a bit of asking support. If you scale it by 1000, then it comes in at the right scale into the modeling thing. And then just for the stuff that I couldn't find models of, I just really needed something with a vague, like it doesn't need to be textured or anything, but like it's good if it has a little bit of surface geometry to it. So the way I did this was, I would, when you make a new Blender project, new general, don't save. So you get a cube, you can just pop that thing open, you can set the dimensions, so you can sort of look up the specs of the thing, and you can go, okay, that's 0.43 meters that way, it's 0.14 that way, and it's 1.2 that way, kind of thing. And then you can like jump into that. And then like what I was doing was just if I had something, so I had my speaker. For this one, I was just doing a bit of edit, doing like a little bit of a sort of loop cut, and then just subdividing and then extruding and moving things back to get a bit of a low poly. I think I got a bit carried away on this one. I just needed something that looked kind of like looked like a speaker when it was like that, basically. So I kind of modeled this one in Blender. So the tools you need to know in Blender. if you ever want to try this, is you go into edit mode. You basically, one of the main things I did was use this loop cut thing, and you can sort of cut it into segments. And then sometimes you might sort of have some weird segments. You can use this thing to like take a face and kind of like, you select it and then you can like make more geometry there, and then you can sort of like pull that in and out, and like take an edge, maybe take these two edges and just like G, Y, sort of move those back on the x-axis or whatever. But yeah, there's just a sort of cut that you can sort of like drag a face and like bevel it, but you don't need to do a great deal to kind of make it look like something. And you can of course like I was sort of which one did I do here? I think I did like, in this case I had my if we look at it like this, I put the sort of I sort of found pictures of the faces and then sort of used that as reference to just like this one I just like chucked like a load of like cylinders in, like really low poly cylinders, and sort of duplicated those across so that I had as all the geometry I wanted. So yeah, and then just export that at 1,000 times, and then I was able to build up this little scene in the thing. And then it's just a case of taking, sort of going to the parts, going, okay, I want this extrusion, and you sort of click and it kind of gives you some options of how you want to orient it. You click on that and then you've got like the ability to sort of make it shorter or longer. The whole time it's giving you the price that's going to cost you, which it's already got too expensive for this year, I think. Or you can get it to show you like you can get it to show you the price of each part, or you can get it to show you the dimensions of each part. So if you're sort of like, if you're anything like me, and I feel like some people watching will sort of have a studio and constantly they're trying to figure out how to like put things on top of other things. I think this is like an interesting technology if you do have a bit of budget. And what I actually found, I measured this, and it would actually perfectly fit over my nice clavinova that I have at home. So in the new place, I could sort of like put this over the top of it and have all of my gear above my nice piano and have a nice rig. So this is just, it's that I haven't exactly like done the most amazing design. And I think like I need to order it, put something together, learn, okay, you need these support pieces to sort of like make sure it's stable. And it's quite cool because you sort of you ask it to give you a PDF quote, and it gives you like a whole kind of construction guide for yourself. Shall I see if I can? I'll see if I can find the one it gave me. I think I downloaded it. Give me 5 seconds just to see. Is this it? No, that's promo codes. If I don't find it within 4, 3 assembly instructions, there it is. Yeah, so it gives you this whole like, here is your bench, with my random file name. Here's your bench, and here are the assembly instructions. Here's what you'll need, and here are some tips, and here is a full view of the subassembly, and here are the parts, and here are where they go. And it just like generated that for me. So obviously this is designed for sort of industrial settings. But yeah, and then just another thing with this was I just, you can like make stuff opaque or make it transparent. So I generally made all the stuff that was mine transparent so that I could just kind of see like what's going on with the parts. But that's my little adventure in, aluminium extrusion. If anyone has done any of this, I'd love to hear from you, like what the pitfalls of it are. But yeah, that's that. So a new segment for this week. How do I? Let's do this. A new segment for this week. I build in public. I share my numbers on Discord I was doing it on Twitter, then I did it on Mastodon, and I was like, I'm just going to do it on Discord. I thought I might as well. I don't know how I feel about this, but I'm just going to. Am I sharing them or not? If I'm sharing them, I'm sharing them. So every week I kind of do a little report so you can see how little money this company is making. And try not to laugh at me too much. But like it's, so last week wasn't great. Well, no, it was actually all right because Beat Sheet did quite well. But I've got, so this you can see over time, the sort of like week by each one of these columns is a week. This was when I was on office hours. This is when I launched a video pencil. This is when I launched Beat Sheet. So you see these little sort of things. I did a little bit of a birthday offer here. So I'm sort of like tracking what the numbers are each week like that. And then you can sort of see the relative change week by week. I've sort of, I'm hoping we get some new levels once Beat Sheet Studio comes in. But I'm also like, if you do pay attention to this, any referrals that come in, I'm reporting here as well. So you see Take One Tech, Alec did send me some people again this week, but no conversions, unfortunately. But I do report these every week. And I wanted to start while they were unimpressive, which I did do, and then it just makes it very exciting when you get a good week because you've got something to talk about. I'm also tracking the crash rate. It does seem like there were some new ones last week, so I've got that on my list to see what's going on with Shoot. Suddenly I got a handful of new crashes out of nowhere. But you can see it like this was when I did it. I made a mistake. But you see like the crash rate's been pretty low recently, so I'm quite pleased with that. And then this was my sort of attempt to figure out how much I could delegate, but it's just mainly told me that probably delegation isn't so much going to get me less work as the capabilities of the business increasing by being able to get to all those things that I just never am able to get to. So like organizing community challenges, wouldn't that be fun? Organizing, different sorts of things. There's all sorts of things that could happen if I had a bit more time or a bit more support. So I was just trying to like figure out what that could be. Right. Next week. I sort of tried to take Thursday, Friday off, but I just ended up on my email still. I just had it on my phone still, and I do not feel ready to do this next crunch yet. But so my strategy is I have had a couple of people suggest and some volunteers for guest hosting, but I think first we do some guests. So I think we're going to sort of have some guests on this starting relatively soon, but then that's more overhead for me to organise, so it's not actually going to make it easier. I'm hoping as we go forward I might be able to sort of like share some, if I can get someone else to 1 week sort of carry this session with their experiences with my stuff, that would be brilliant and let me go on an actual holiday at some point. But the other thing is I do see a bit of reluctance on Discord. I don't know if people just aren't seeing it or if there's reluctance. Or what would be really awesome is if you do see a question on Discord that you know the answer to, it would be lovely if you could help out. I'll just answer the questions. So I know there's people here. I know there's people watching that. I guess there's not a critical mass of people on there that every particular question is going to. Obviously, I know the answers to the questions, but sometimes you might know the answer to a question, and if I could sort of leave the Discord for a couple of days and things. I think I'm maybe overestimating how much things would pile up if I didn't check my email for a couple of days. It's not like I don't go 5 days without replying sometimes. But yeah, what would be awesome is if you did see a question that you know the answer to, try and help out. And also just I try and welcome people as they come in as well. So I try and say hi to each new person that lands in. So if anyone else if you do, I don't know who's got any I've got the notifications for my channel, but you probably haven't. But if you do see those, then please sort of make new people feel welcome. Because it's still pretty small community, and I think we can all know each other for the time being until we're in the until all the Zoom people and the Salesforce people start flooding in. We've got a nice little thing here, and I'm sure there'll be nice people too. Beat Sheet. I've just got. I don't know what this is. Beatsheet.studio. If you haven't sort of had a look, there's not a lot of info, but if you want to kind of keep on top of what's going on, that's the link to share, I guess, is my point here. And if you do share it with someone and you want me to know that you shared it, what you could do is just go CT equals your name, and then I'll know when I'll see it. If they do actually end up signing up for the mailing list or anything, I'll know that you sent them to me. This CT equals is an Apple convention that I ended up adopting, and it's not I think it's campaign tag. But basically anything you put in there less than 45 characters is going to come through to those reports I showed you before. So with that, and if I've given you a code, obviously use that, right? Because it'll be, or I mean, even not, you can make up whatever you want for that, and I'll, but just like if you let me know, because I'll be like, what's this one? So yeah, I think that's it from me for this week. Unless anyone's got any questions or comments or things you wanted. I mean, it was a weird one, I think, but this is weekly, so I do my best. If there's no more questions, I will. I have been working on some music for this, by the way. I've been working on a little song to play us in and play us out, but it's got a bit of work to do. I'm trying to have it not being a bit too weird. I'm trying to make it I think that WWDC music that they have, I think that's sort of like a good cadence to hit with this stuff. So I'm sort of trying to get stuff that kind of feels sort of generous and upbeat without being like ukulele twee rubbish, a little bit more futuristic. But anyway, I'm just working on some stuff. But for now, if there is nothing else, I am going to end the session. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate you coming and joining in when you could be doing literally anything else right now. Yeah, I do appreciate that. I love attention. It's great. But yeah, I will be here next week. I don't know what I'm going to be presenting. I'm not going to be available Thursday, Friday, Saturday or Sunday, and maybe Monday. I'll add Tim's note. Thank you, Tim. And yes, so thanks everyone. And I'm going to hit next. And for the first time ever, we get a little outro sting so that I have a moment to turn everything off. Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye. Holding my breath, trying to find the button to end the stream. Oh.